Okay.
We have a call to order for the Bartlett Economic Development Commission for the November 11th, 2019 meeting. We have a roll call.
Jerry Kubaszko.
Here.
Kirsten Erickson.
Here.
Robert Perry.
Here.
Tracy Smadilla.
Here.
Nanette Gutenkoff. Joe Laporte. Adam Lewinsky. Stephanie Ganzi. And Michelle Hughes.
Here.
Great, we have a quorum tonight. Thank you.
Next agenda item would be the approval of the previous meeting from September 9th, 2019 minutes. Do we have any discussion on the topic? Do we have a motion to approve?
I motion to approve.
Second?
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Fourth agenda item would be public comments. Anybody out in the public want to make a comment?
Looks like we don't have any.
There's no public.
Guess not. We'll move on to the fifth item. We're going to welcome back a former commissioner, Kirsten Erickson, to the Economic Development Commission again. I think she previously served 9 years.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Time served.
He's well aware of what goes on and should be a very welcome new, not new member, I want to say new because she's been here so long. But welcome back, Kirsten.
Thank you, Jerry.
Yes, Commissioner Erickson, welcome back. And I've
you.
had the pleasure of the staff person with her on the EDC for quite a few years. Those of you, for any commissioners who might not know about you and your vast background in business and with the village, would you care to elaborate for a couple minutes?
I've lived in the village of Bartlett for 21 years. I'm a vice president of West Suburban Bank. I oversee 10 other branches as a regional manager, and I've been doing that for the last 21 years. So, thank you for having me back.
It's good to have you.
Good to see you. Recycled.
Okay, with that said, we'll move on to the next agenda item, which would be recognizing me.
I'll take that. Commissioner Kubaszko, the chairperson of the Economic Development Commission, has been on for quite a few years. Occasionally, we recognize members of the EDC for their long tenure and their contributions on the EDC, and it came to our attention while we were reviewing people's tenures a little bit earlier this year, just a couple months ago when Commissioner Green had finally retired from the EDC, and we kind of took a look at how long people have been serving and noticed that Mr. Kubaszko was tapped to be on the EDC quite a few years ago, 40 years ago. It's hard for me to even grasp sometimes that I've been here 14 and a half years, and Jerry had already been on the EDC for many years at that time. I could talk quite at length, as you know, even about all the things that he's been through with the EDC since I've been part of it, things like weighing on the smoking ban and whether or not to have video gaming in town, the downtown TOD plan. Prior to my tenure, the EDC went over a lot of stuff with the original downtown TIF and a lot of TIF projects up until 2010, the formation of the business park. And I mean, again, it would take a very long description to talk about all the things that he has weighed in on, given advice to, and the changes he's seen in the I was going to say the economic development landscape, but really the the village as a whole, from top to bottom. So I want to recognize him for his many years of tenure. I'm glad that the other 5 of you are here tonight. I see Jerry's wife coming in, and want to just recognize him, give him a quick hand also for all the years of dedicated service. You all were kind enough to sign this card, so I'm going to step away from the staff table for a minute and hand him the thank you card that we got him, along with a small token of the village's appreciation.
Thank you very much, Tony. Thank you, everyone.
Well done.
Been a long time since I was appointed by former Mayor Bill Tickness when I was 18 years old, so. And that's all I have to say.
Thank you.
Well, Jerry, I'd just like to add, to the accolades that Tony has already provided, that I've always appreciated the opportunity to be able to email you when I had a question or a comment that I just needed to pick your brain on. So thank you for replying to those. And, I know we've sometimes not agreed on everything that the EDC has done moving forward, but I've always appreciated that spirit of camaraderie that we've enjoyed over the last, I think I'm going on 9 years now. So thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. It's been fun 40 years, most of the time. Okay, with that, we can move on to the next agenda item, Access O'Hare West update. You gonna let us know what's going on here, Tony?
Yes, this is another item that I'm happy to report on. A lot of you have heard me talk about Access O'Hare West at these meetings quite a bit. It's for the benefit of our newest commissioner who has rejoined us tonight. Access O'Hare West is a group of 10 communities along the I-390 expressway that have joined forces, and particular in the retail sector. Now, we do marketing, of course, in office and manufacturing and industrial. This group primarily focuses on joint marketing efforts for retail shows. The organization that I also often refer to, ICSC, that stands for International Council of Shopping Centers, and they have the large trade show every May in Las Vegas, actually the world's largest real estate trade show, and also 2 smaller shows in Chicago. And here you see a picture taken at a show last month where we staffed a booth with the other communities. Kind of small typing for me, but I'll read through them. That the 10 communities include Bartlett, Bensonville, Bloomingdale, Elk Grove Village, Elmhurst, Hanover Park, Itasca, Roselle, Schaumburg, and Wooddale. So we are actually the furthest west of the 10 Access O'Hare West communities, Elmhurst being the furthest east. But we meet monthly leading up to the trade show. We met a couple times per month. Also, we recently had a broker's open house last week that we had quite a few meetings on. So I want the EDC to be aware that we are a very active participant in this. The other towns are buying into it in various degrees. I would say some of them still do their own booths. One of the communities still shares a booth with Choose DuPage. That's the city of Elmhurst. Schaumburg, of course, is a gigantic retail behemoth, and they do their own booth at most of these shows. But for the most part, the other communities split up the booth hours, and we meet and we talk about what type of marketing materials and email blasts we do, and how we market ourselves. So this photo, again, was taken last month at the ICSC Chicago Dealmaking Show at Navy Pier. And you see there Scott and myself sitting there with representatives of Wooddale, Bensonville, Hanover Park, and Bloomingdale. Hopefully I didn't miss anybody. And somebody from Wooddale. And then last week, we had a broker open house in Bloomingdale. That was something that we had planned together over the months and trying to get some interest in it from the ICSC show. We do collect, some of the commissioners have asked over the months doing this, we do collect business cards and contact information from those who stop by the booth. And we do various drawings for them. We pitched in for the ICSC show in Chicago. I just want to mention, because I thought it was cool, each one of the 10 communities bought a gift card for one of the businesses, usually restaurants in town. I purchased a gift card for Pasta Mia. So we had a lot of people stop by the booth and put in their card for the drawing. And one of the brokers who stopped by got to win 10 gift cards for all these towns from Elmhurst to Bartlett. And also they were all invited to this open house that we held last week at a brewery, a microbrewery called 25 West Brewing Company. It's over at Stratford Square. A pretty cool place. Was not as well attended as we would like, the open house, but with that said, we're going to keep working on building the momentum of our group. Anybody who stops by gets added to our list, and we did that last week. So a little bit more about this is that we are communities that each have our own motivations to promote our individual communities, but when we're staffing the booth and all the banners and the booth and all the materials say Access O'Hare West, we always explain to people what it is. There's a little more confusion at the Las Vegas show about it than there is at the Chicago show. Between all of the communities involved, we know pretty much every broker and developer in the Chicago market between the group of us. In Las Vegas, they tend to stop by the booth and think that we represent O'Hare Airport. So we explain that we're a bunch of communities that are west of O'Hare, and that what we're trying to do is band together for joint marketing efforts. Doing a booth at the show in Las Vegas is minimum, I can't remember the exact price, but it's like $12,000 to $15,000 to do a booth. So the towns like ours that don't want to foot that entire bill and stand at a booth for 3 straight days from 8 in the morning till 6 at night, we divide that up. So that's something that's rather newer. I'm not going to say it's always easy to meet with a different group of people from different towns to try to agree on what marketing materials or what colors to use for banners and that kind of stuff. But so far, so good. And we're going to continue with the group. We just, for budgeting purposes, we just put together a budget for next year where we each are pitching in an amount that we're hoping is enough to cover the entire year. So instead of billing every single thing that we buy, every single event, we're each putting in a certain amount of money into an account. Elk Grove is going to manage the account. They have the largest marketing budget, and they're willing to pay for these booths and then have us, pay them later on. So that's what's going on with Access O'Hare West. We're going to be meeting again soon, but I don't think we're going to have another joint effort for a few months at this point. Any questions or comments on Access O'Hare West?
Yeah, I have a question, and it relates to the success of this program for each community. Have they been able to, or has Bartlett or any of these communities been able to report businesses that have actually either come in and looked at commercial property, or have you closed on any particular parcels of property?
I don't think that Bartlett has closed on one or attracted a business yet as a direct result of this. We're close. we're engaging with kind of a, not so much a national, but like a regional quick food service business. You know, we're not only putting retail sites in front of them. I kind of got into it a little bit. We're including industrial people as well, and also even multifamily developers. So, you know, we have 2 sites the village owns we're trying to sell for multifamily development. And we have gained a lot of pretty good leads on this, but nobody who's purchased or built anything yet.
I have a question. It seems that Streamwood is not part of this group. Is there a reason behind that at all? I mean, they seem to be part of the corridor, so to speak.
No particular reason. This group was actually, Mayor Craig of Hanover Park really was the one who thought it would be a good idea to invite all these communities together. And even though we're not directly on the I-390, we're just west of it. So, I mean, there was no formal invitation. If there was an invitation list, it would have been from Hanover Park. But there were towns that were invited that are not Streamwood or any of these 10 that just didn't want to participate. I can only speak for us that we jumped on the opportunity to work with all these towns. I know Scott and I have become pretty good friends with some of the people from the other communities, and we really work cooperatively at these trade shows. We're not like tripping over each other
That was
trying
going to be my
to,
next question. How
like-
does that work out if somebody comes in looking for, you know, a place to set up their business? And obviously, there's perfectly good towns that are available to
yeah.
offer it. Are you
I mean,
guys
it's
tripping over
different.
each other as far as offering?
Yeah, I haven't seen anybody being really competitive at any of these shows. A lot of times, if a broker comes up or comes to the open house, they'll want to speak to someone in particular.
Got it.
I mean, I won't say exactly what towns, but sometimes when Scott and I are staffing the booth in Las Vegas, people come in and ask about sites in different towns. We might give them their card or might give them a flyer. I mean, we each put out our own flyers. So they would do the same if they asked for a Bartlett, you know, a property. And also, I want to add for the open house was kind of small. It was 2 hours long. There were maybe 20 some odd brokers that showed up. Each town spoke with every single broker individually. So I wasn't cutting in front of like Schaumburg trying to get somebody, and vice versa. We each had an opportunity to speak with whoever. Or if they don't want to speak with us, we're not going to make them. It's really it's a good joint marketing effort is what it is at this point. And we're in our second year with it, so it's not brand new, but it's still something that is, you know, changes. I can tell you that 4 of the people from the other communities have changed. So we had a hard time formulating this open house because 2 of the main people who planned all the events left to other communities.
So another question I would have is, of these communities that are a part of the AOW, I'm going to call it for short.
We call it.
So, and again, this is a joint effort. Elk Grove Village comes to mind as having their own, they're having a proprietary adjunct marketing plan. And I think specifically of the Makers Wanted program that they invested in, and I think that was roughly $300,000, $350,000.
At least, yeah.
Sponsoring a college football game, and
Yeah.
They're touting that they have had success in attracting businesses to their industrial park. So, and again, while we may not have $350,000 in our budget, particularly, we know that those funds come from the Elk Grove Village Business Park. Do any of the other communities have similar, or, I shouldn't say similar, but adjunct proprietary marketing plans that perhaps we could glean,
Well,
I don't know, maybe some detail from and develop something that, again, that was a little bit more unique to Bartlett?
Yeah, that's an interesting point. You know what, each one of the 10 has something different. We have our own, ours is a lot more robust than some communities. while others, like you said, Elk Grove Village, we kid them about that. You know, they have like a $500,000 marketing budget. And it goes well beyond that sponsorship of,
Right.
I mean, they have their entire industrial park's the largest one in the country.
Right.
That's a $100 million TIF budget they adopted a couple years ago. So anyway, they spend a lot on marketing. And, you know, there's other communities where they want to discuss in our meetings whether something's going to cost $100 or $150. We're somewhere in between. So they each have unique marketing efforts. Ours are probably a little more advanced than a lot of these communities, but not to the point, you know, of Schaumburg or Elk Grove.
I think that's the point that maybe we would want to carry forward is that, you know, in developing a specific niche for Bartlett. For example, I know you've talked, or we've all talked before about our Brewster Creek Business Park having really a niche for the food industry or a niche for, you know, certain service/manufacturing. An auto truck comes to mind. Rana Pasta comes to mind. Is it S&D products? Those also come to mind. So is there an opportunity to make that a little bit more, or to make that message a little bit more robust, particularly when you're doing joint efforts like this?
I mean, there always is, yeah. Like I said, the two shows that we focus on with them are the retail shows. But the other event, like the broker event, it really was more retail driven. We invited industrial brokers, but they really didn't show up for this. So you're right, we have not only a food niche in terms of the business park, I mean, we're well known for that. That's kind of a different realm than what we're focusing on this. But at the same time, we're developing a big food and beverage niche in the retail sector with all these new restaurants that we're going to be telling you about later on and through the next months and years. So in a word, yes. But this is part of our marketing plan.
Okay.
Right, the foreign direct investment show too is a good opportunity. Scott reminded me of, that was a few months ago. A Select Chicago show we did a few months ago when the weather was warm, and that was a good opportunity for us to present our food niche.
Great.
It's not the only thing that we present, in this particular Access O'Hare West, mostly we're trying to attract retail.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Okay, next agenda item would be the Small Business Saturday.
Thanks. If you give me a minute, I'm gonna escape out of this. I'm gonna show a commercial. But before I get too into that, this is the third year that we're promoting Small Business Saturday. The background of it I have in the packet, but essentially it's something that American Express launched about 10 years ago. And it's something to somewhat counterbalance the madness and mayhem of Black Friday, which personally I don't get too involved in. I try to avoid. Small Business Saturday is the Saturday following Thanksgiving. It's late this year. It's on the 30th. And just as the name suggests, it's a Saturday where we like to focus on small businesses. And because Bartlett, I say this every year, we're not a town that has a lot of big box retail. We're not a town like Bloomingdale or Schaumburg with gigantic malls where everybody flocks to. But what we have is a large variety of independent businesses, a little bookstore, and unique places like Banbury Fair, and we've had a bike shop for a very long time, and lots of small businesses. So I have a little small business placemat here. I forgot to bring my bags. I've got a little placard standing up there. over the years, if you recall, I typically bring bags to hand out at this meeting. I have not yet received them. I applied once again, like I did the past 2 years, and American Express will typically send you boxes of things like these doormats to hand out and canvas bags. 2 years ago, they sent me 200 canvas bags. Last year, they sent me 100 canvas bags, and I gave them all away except for a couple of them, and I'm still waiting for them. I hope they show up tomorrow. And we hand them out to the businesses, and they're all very appreciative. And Cecilia is no longer on the EDC, but Arts and Bartlett is a big supporter of Small Business Saturday, and every year they give out all the bags that we give to them. They give it to X amount, first 20 customers if I give them 20 bags. So what I'm gonna run real quickly is a commercial. This isn't the final product, but we have run cable TV commercials the last 2 years for Small Business Saturday. We're going to be doing it again this year. Somehow this whole year's gone by, and this is our first cable TV commercial, I think. I think maybe we did one in February for dining, but it's been a long time. And I'd like to remind you that when we do these cable TV commercials with Comcast, they run the gamut of the stations. It's not like a local access thing. Over the years running ads, people have told me they've seen ads running during the Bears game. They've seen them while they're watching Fox News. They've seen them on the Golf Channel while they're watching the Food Network or the Disney Channel. This ad impression will run over 1,000 times on a wide variety of channels throughout a couple of cable areas. Bartlett is considered in the Schaumburg cable zone. I don't have it in front of me, but I can say it includes about 4 or 5 communities from Schaumburg to Bartlett, I think Streamwood and Hanover Park. And I also went into the Bloomingdale cable market for this, and that goes all the way east from Bloomingdale through here. So it's going to run in about a dozen towns. And I'm hoping you can hear it, and I'm going to run it. Small Business Saturday 2019 ad.
Make a difference this holiday season, where you eat, shop, and stay. Go local first.
I'd like to invite you to come and see us in downtown Bartlett for Small Business Saturday.
Come see us at Arts and Bartlett on Small Business Saturday.
Come visit the shops at Banbury Fair in beautiful downtown Bartlett for Small Business Saturday.
Small Business Saturday. Come down and visit the shops at 138 South Oak.
So celebrate the holidays and go local first.
Okay, so that's a short 30-second commercial, but it's cable TV, so that's your typical length commercial you're going to show. And hold on, I'm trying to find the packet again. It's going to start running on Monday, and it's going to run through Small Business Saturday, so for about 2 weeks. And we're going to post it to the Discover Bartlett page like we do. The only thing that I've asked them to change is instead of saying shop local first, because that's so generic, just to have it changed to shop Bartlett, to get the word Bartlett in there. That was kind of like a stock footage thing they put in that says shop local first. So as commissioners, what I'm going to ask you to do is when I post it to Discover Bartlett, not saying you have to share it and everything, but just, if you get the opportunity to with whatever your business is, maybe with your customers, maybe with some social network you're on, to just do some type of promotion of Small Business Saturday. Sharing it would be ideal. We have about 5,700 followers in Discover Bartlett, but sometimes we post something great and it gets shared like 20, 30, 40 times, and then I can see that 10 or 15,000 people saw it. And the businesses have anecdotally told me that, first of all, they're all thrilled because customers come in and say, I saw you on TV. And also, quite a few of them have told me that they've had new customers discover them due to those commercials. So yes, people still do watch TV, and they see commercials, and it's always exciting to see local business proprietors that you know when you're sitting at home watching TV at night. So that's Small Business Saturday, November 30th. And any questions or commentary on that?
Yeah, I'd recommend that you take down the Village of Bartlett logo and put up the actual name of the establishment that is being advertised in this.
I like your suggestion. However, I think we already have it in production with the cable station. So if they can work with us on that, we will, but that's something we'll keep in mind for future.
Yeah,
It's a good idea.
yeah, the guy who had the bike shop, I couldn't even hear him say Spin Doctor. And the shop's at 130 Oak?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's nothing compelling for that.
Well, I'm sorry you feel that way, but we're doing what we can to promote our local small businesses.
Well, I'm just saying that people want to have the easiest way to get to the person that is advertising their business.
I could show it again, but I think the commercial shows the name and the address of each of the businesses while it's on there.
Oh, I didn't see it, so sorry.
You would like for me to show it? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I could show it
It
again.
does, I mean, I don't know, did it say Spin Doctor with the address?
I recognized it right away, so I didn't even pay attention if it was there. I know Spin Doctor, so I wasn't keying in to see if his name was there or anything. I was like, oh, there's my bike shop.
Oh, they're not there? Okay. I stand corrected. We'll see, the production schedule's very tight now. We'll see if we can change that. Joey's a very good video editor, so.
Awesome. So, another comment I would just make is rather than making shop small, especially for like Shop Small Saturday, instead of making it once a year, why don't we just promote that year-round for our businesses? And is any of this information being posted at the train station? Like the signs or?
Well, I'm not sure I understand.
Well-
I mean, we promote our businesses all year.
Well, I know,
Not
but
Small
again,
Business
but
Saturday.
Shop Small is actually branding it, and it's just a reminder that it's Shop Small Saturday. So instead of going to Target to pick up a birthday gift, maybe you would go to the little shop on Oak, or instead of going to Dick's to buy a bicycle, you might, reconsider the Spin Doctor. It's just keeping that in the mind of the residents and people that are coming through that, hey, Shop Small Saturday.
I mean, we do that year-round, promoting our businesses, but not, I mean, first of all, the chamber's not here tonight, but that's one of the large roles of the Chamber of Commerce. Also, we do it constantly through our Facebook page. If you ever look at Discover Bartlett, you'll see usually there's something about some business or an open house or a ribbon cutting or something like that. We don't do cable commercials all year, just due to the high
No,
cost.
I'm just saying that even just having a visual, like the Shop Small little placard that you have here, I think putting something like that in a shop window at the train, or at the train station is just a very, cost-effective way of planting a seed in the mind of the person that may go elsewhere for their purchase, to encourage them to keep their dollars in Bartlett.
I feel like the push was maybe during '09 or '10, maybe when, there was the economic situation going on, that it was more like shop local, dine local. I remember that being a big push, so maybe it wasn't small, but local was more of the message I
There
remember
was.
then.
There was. We had something years ago called the 350 Project. That was during the recession. It became real popular just for maybe a couple of years. I mean, if you said the 350 Project now, like, people would look at you funny, but that was a movement where they urged you to think of the three businesses in your town that you would miss the most if they went out of business, and to commit to spending a combined $50 a month between the three. I did that personally for a few years here in Bartlett, mostly at restaurants. And, you know, like I said, it was popular for about 2 years, but you're going back, to the recession years. And then really it's this kind of shop small, shop local, maker type local movement that became more popular after that. And you don't hear, if you go on the 350 Facebook page, there hasn't been a post in 10 years. But it's the same concept. And we embrace that concept. We just don't push it all year. We have to focus on a lot of other things throughout the year as a village. But this is like a nice time of year to remind people to shop local. You can't buy any gift that you want here in town, but we want to make the point that, you know, don't drive past a woman's clothing store if the items you want might be over at the Closet Boutique. You know, there are plenty of small shops here in town. And really, it's not even the shopping at the big stores that's really making the impact. It's the Amazon effect, as they say.
Yeah, well, I think that's the reason why even American Express started this campaign, you know, well over 10 years ago. It was the idea that, you know, back in '08, you had more downward pressure from the big box stores like Walmart and Target and large retailers. Now it is the downward pressure of the internet, and I just think that those placards or some campaigns similar to that, to brand it, similar to what Commissioner Hughes said, is where you had shop local, dine local. I think rebranding that to keep that in the mind of people, to make them realize that our shops only stay open if you actually patronize them. And sometimes, you know, without that reminder, it's easy to, you know, click to order something that'll be here the next day.
Yeah, we embrace that philosophy here, and we have to. We have so many mom and pop businesses in town. Besides the big industrial users, I mean, we're doing a lot of different tactics to try to keep those in front of the residents here.
And, you know, I think you're absolutely right when you say that, but to add to Tony's point about how we do that each and every single day, as of last year, we started a small business concierge where we now email blast every single business in Bartlett. We just started doing that. We've also launched a series of courses. Last month we did a Google Analytics course in the morning, very early in the morning, so the business owners would be able to stop by and come visit us before they go to work. This month we have an email marketing campaign that will help small businesses improve those types of things that the village will be paying for. And we've also have one click of a button where if you need a business visit from Tony or myself or somebody on staff, you can do that now via our website. And we also do Bartlett Business Spotlight videos that we also pay for to help boost those businesses. And we ask them probably on a quarterly basis for us to stop by and do that. We have yet to say no to a business. So, you know, those are the types of things that we're doing that you bring up.
Those are excellent tools for the small business owner, and I applaud those. But I'm looking at low-hanging fruit because we still don't know how that translates into getting people in their doors. So I can assure you that if we went back to a low-cost type of visual branding that just reminds people that the doors stay open because you are shopping here, you're dining here. It's the reach to the actual consumer that I think is kind of missing here.
Tony, can I ask a question about the American Express stuff that you've gotten in the past? Is that only available to villages, or is that available to the businesses as well?
Yeah, a business can apply for that as well.
Maybe that's something we need to look at with the email blast, is really encouraging all the local businesses that here's the link for American Express. We encourage you to get some of these marketing materials. Be ready for this. You know, we're supporting it. We'd like you to support it as well, and here's how you can gain these materials as well, because they may not realize that they can get that from American Express. And then that's putting that in other locations and everything, and they probably would appreciate seeing that information, because they may not know that, they may assume that because they don't accept American Express, they can't participate in that program or something. So
Right.
I think with the email blasts that you're doing are fantastic. I think that that's a great way of, come, September or so, saying, we're getting ready for this, Black Friday is coming, what are you doing for Small Business Saturday? And really kind of using that as a push for them.
Yeah, thank you. It's an application process. I can just say from filling it out a few times, they ask you, what are you going to do to promote it? They really, for a business, they would want you to do something kind of out of the ordinary. In years past, you say the shop's at 138 Oak. That's not a well-known name, but that's the coin shop, the little shop on Oak, and then the Book Lady store. And, in the past, they've done their own little outdoor things, little outdoor, they're always happy to get the materials when I get them, and they put up banners and everything. So what I'm saying is it would be hard for one business to apply for it, maybe, just the way the application is, but they encourage you to do that kind of group effort. So a place where there's a group of shops is probably ideal, or a group of businesses downtown doing something together, because we do it village-wide, but that's the way my application reads. I list them.
I can just say, as a small business owner, and I do accept the American Express card in my practice, they've been pitching this since August. And so it is available. It's just, sometimes people aren't compelled to, like you said, complete an application in time for this. But I just think that, in my heart of hearts, I believe that if this campaign was carried further than just one day, I think it would be beneficial. Like we've got the Christmas tree lighting. Wouldn't it be cool if American Express bellied up and got some sort of little tchotchke about shopping small that could be handed out to people there, and or if the village would print something that would be available. And again, emphasizing the importance of shopping small and shopping locally during the holiday season.
Yeah, that's a point well taken. We should always promote that. We use the newsletter, our village cable station, our website, and various social media pages. And we'll make, I think Scott will work on us with that. We'll get some of the other media outlets that the village controls to promote that as well.
Yeah.
We have in the
I'm really interested in hearing with what the chamber is doing on this too, but I'll contact them.
And I like the idea of using the train station too, because as the weather changes, a lot of us spend more time inside waiting for the train, so you have a captive audience.
Right.
True. Yeah, well, those are good suggestions. We're going to try to push this a little more
Think
than
about
just once a
$100
year.
American Express gift cards using the village.
I don't think American Express.
trash.
We're gonna
can't
get a
speak for
half.
them. I think the village promoting it is more within our control than getting somebody else to sponsor it.
No.
I'm just hoping they send me the
Magnets,
materials
something,
this year. And they haven't sent anything. So, and there's no way.
Maybe somebody who works for a bank can help get us
There you
gift
go.
cards for all the commuters.
Those little cool things.
Right at the gift
Very
card business.
retro.
Yeah, you squeeze them.
So Tony, it seems like the village is spearheading for small businesses so that they get more business. So the whole thing around this time of the year is Black Friday. So what's drawing the people in? They're having sales, they're having discounts. It's Black Friday discount. So maybe we want to put something on there where the small businesses are discounting like the big stores are. Come to our little shop, we're doing a discount too. Maybe we could have coupons over at the village hall. Come pick up your discount coupons at our small business, whatever you're looking for.
Well, In the past, we've done coupon inserts in the Bartlett. We're not doing one this year. We kind of moved out of the coupon business, so to speak, as a village. But a lot of the individual businesses still do those. They post them, you might see them in a local newspaper or on their website or Facebook. And even last year when we didn't do the coupon insert in the Bartlett, we still had a number of businesses send discounts that we posted on the Facebook page, and people utilized it. They're always invited and encouraged to. Some businesses are more hesitant than others to participate in that kind of thing. But for example, Banbury Fair, every single year they'll offer some type of coupon. We share that on our page. You know, the only thing that you run into when you do it digitally is some businesses don't want people to use the same coupon, 8 times. We can't really control that, but that's something that has been expressed to me about the digital coupons. But that's still something we will gladly share, and that businesses, some of the small businesses do that as well. They'll do some kind of discount.
Yeah, so we're looking at Saturday, one day. So the small businesses don't have to have that coupon for the next year. It's a small business Saturday. They have a special coupon, Black Friday coupon. That's something that you could put into an ad, I would think, very easily. Hey, stop by us. We're having our Black Friday coupon day, Black Friday sales day for all the small businesses. Just a thought.
It's a good idea.
Well, what business isn't doing well? The ones that are advertising seem to be doing well. Dogfather, Home Depot does decent, O'Hare's. Armanetti's, I was invited to the open house by the guy behind the register, so I went to the open house, I spent $125. So some of it falls on the business owners as well.
Of course.
And if they're not busy, then that gives them time to do their social media, or that gives them time to do other things. I don't think the village has to bear the entire burden. Some of it's up to the entrepreneur, but I've enjoyed supporting as many of the businesses as I can. And I like the idea of the 3 for $50, or whatever, or $3.50. That's a great idea. I buy gift cards. Maybe there's a marketing opportunity. I think you're going to hit more people on social media. We could do the flyer that Tracy's talking about visually or digitally, share that with all of, 14,000 people, and you'd probably get more hits off of that. Half the people at the train station are on their phones anyway, so
Yeah.
just some thoughts.
I like that idea, and it's another good point. Absolutely. I don't want to characterize the ones that need it the most, but I would say they're more like shops rather than places to eat and drink. A lot of the eating and drinking places are doing very well that you mentioned. It's some of the smaller shops maybe that could use that little boost.
It kind of goes into your very next thing about the email. The seminar that you guys are doing, if the businesses want to do this, to your point, yes, they do need to be active in it, and here's a great opportunity if they would go to this event and pick up some of these great tips. So.
Absolutely.
So great segue to the next.
It is.
Yes,
It's a perfect
that's what I'm
one.
thinking. I
you
can
have
go
to
right
grow-
into that then.
Yeah, you have to
Let's
grow
go
your
into that,
business.
please. Number 9, the email marketing seminar that Scott mentioned earlier and that you, Commissioner Erickson just mentioned. We do look at ways to, I've heard a lot of good comments tonight and good summary that we can't do all of this for them, but we can provide a good setting for them to do business and provide some assistance and some tools for these businesses to take advantage of. And one of these is this Wednesday morning where we're bringing in Nathan Messerian again. You may remember we brought him in, I think, in May. I had discovered him a few months earlier at a Google seminar that he gave in Kane County. And then we hired him to do the same type of seminar here in Bartlett, where he partnered with Bartlett Tap right when it was opening, and then he helped the owner, John Castilla, with his website and optimizing it for Google. So soon after that, Nathan, we spoke with him again, and he talked about doing some email marketing for this particular presentation. He has worked closely with the Chamber of Commerce with the notion that if he can help the Chamber of Commerce better optimize their own email and learn how to better market themselves, that they in turn could help boost a wide variety of businesses that are members. In other words, we're not just leveraging one business with this project, but the entire Chamber of Commerce. And for those of you who may already get the Chamber of Commerce emails, and I do certainly, I've noticed the vast improvement just over the past few weeks of the way it looks, the messaging, and the ease of which you can kind of determine what events or ribbon cuttings you might want to go to. So I've sent this out to the EDC a few times. Today, sending out an email saying this is your last chance to sign up. So I was really hoping at least one or two members of the EDC would sign up for this. And we're having it Wednesday. Scott, Bartlett Hills, right? It's at Bartlett Hills again, 7:30 in the morning on Wednesday. So you're all certainly invited to this. I'm sure it won't be our last time we bring in an expert to assist, but this is really, like you said, a good segue of what we were just talking about. This is free for any Bartlett business, and you don't really even have to be a Bartlett business. You can just go ahead and sign up for it. So, you know, that's one of the things that we do in an effort to boost mostly smaller businesses. It's entrepreneurs and mostly single proprietorships at home-based businesses that are signing up for this kind of thing. So it's Wednesday morning, and whatever information we get from Mr. Masirian, if any of you who can't make it and would like to get a hold of the information, let me or Scott know. We'll get a hold of it. Questions on that?
Tony, I didn't respond to the RSVP, but you can add me. I'll show up on Wednesday.
Awesome. Thank you.
New business update, Tony?
New business update, yes. This is a fun part. I haven't done one of these for a while. And you should have a sheet of paper that I put together this afternoon, kind of the cheat sheet. And the first thing I was going to say in my comments was the new business update for a while has just kind of been one and the same of the Streets of Bartlett update. Right down the block, just 1 block south of us, you've all, I hope, have had a chance to visit the Streets of Bartlett since Mr. Raffidia bought it back in early June, just about 4 or 5 months ago. I mean, you can see the incredible difference. I don't want to list out everything he's done, but it's a lot. He's been before the EDC twice for BETA grants, so you've seen the list of improvements that he set out to make. He's making every improvement that he stood here and told you folks and then told the village board that he was going to make. So I'm going to start off with Streets of Bartlett for the new business update. As Commissioner Laporte mentioned, Arminetti is now open. It's the largest liquor and wine store, I should call it, in the village. And it is, they're having a ribbon cutting also tomorrow. Probably going to be pretty cold, but anyway, their ribbon cutting is tomorrow, and they were the first of the new businesses to open at Streets of Bartlett. Last week, Delicious Crepes and Roti opened. You all know them from about 5 years of operation across the street in Town Center. They have a greatly new and improved location. The picture, little picture I put in really doesn't do it justice, but this is really, I don't want to say what's the most attractive looking business in town or restaurant, but it would be hard to be a nicer looking interior than what Delicious Crepes has done. They expanded. I can't name the exact square feet, but they were in about 1,300 or so square feet in town center, and they're now about doubled that size. So they're operational, opened, I think, last Tuesday. I think Scott might have been their first customer for some coffee last week. There's a big taco and tequila restaurant coming called One Taco, Dos Tequilas. It's going to be, we can best describe it as a sports bar meets casual Mexican restaurant. This is going to be directly adjacent to Arminetti along Devon there. If you all recall me, and then for Commissioner Erickson's benefit, divided the former grocery space into 4 units with 3 units fronting on Devon, and there's still one very large unit on the interior. So One Taco, Dos Tequilas, I'm going to put generally coming soon. So I can't answer every single month when they're going to open, but if I had to wager on it, I would say probably in January. And then for many years, I've heard many people say that an ice cream shop would be a nice thing to have in downtown Bartlett. There's a local entrepreneur family, and they are opening up an ice cream shop. Might be better to open in July than during the polar vortex coming up, but there's an ice cream shop called Cherry on Top coming soon, and they're located in one of the units between Golden Bowl and Dr. Kammerer's office. I think maybe it's, I forget exactly what unit, but I think it's the one where DJ had that business, the boutique, for a number of years. So 4 new businesses coming there. Moving on, there's a new strip retail center you may have seen if you were traveling on Army Trail Road east of Route 59. It's called the Galleria of Bartlett, and there's 2 businesses open. The one that I pictured there is called Beef Shack. It's a really good restaurant featuring Italian beef sandwiches, but many other things as well. And they just have a few locations. It's not like a huge chain. If I had to describe the menu, it's similar to Portillo's. I happen to really love their beef sandwiches there, so I'm pretty happy that that business came to town. 220 is a fitness business. We're going to post a business spotlight video that Joey and I went over and made for them last Friday. Probably post tomorrow. The name 2 times 20, or he calls it 220. The theory behind it, and I call it theory for now, is that if you give them 20 minutes twice per week, they'll help get you into shape. And they will run you through a series of 17 machines in 20 minutes. They will measure every vital statistic of body weight and your breathing and your heart rate. Record every single time how much weight you did on every machine. Of course, they encourage you to attend more than twice per week for 20 minutes, but that's the thought behind it, and that leads to the name 220. This is the owner, is a Bartlett resident, and this is his second location.
Then you can go eat some fries when you're done.
That was my thought.
Work.
Yeah, I was really going to admit I'm more of a
Milkshake.
Beef Shack kind of guy than a 220 guy. But they are neighbors. Gambit's is now open. This got approved a while ago, about a year ago. They had a few snags in terms of their construction schedule, but they got back on it a few months ago. It's built out. This is Bartlett Place. I forgot the second T. Bartlett Place Shopping Center that's just south of Amita, off of Apple Valley Drive over there. And Gambit's is actually a restaurant that features Cajun food. They have po' boy sandwiches. They bake donuts. It's almost like a bakery in the morning. I think Scott's probably more familiar with the business at this point than I am, but I'm excited that they have Cajun food here in Bartlett, so I'm pretty excited about that. As the name suggests, Gambit's, they do have the video gambling machines, but it's not the same business model as these small strip center businesses that have like 1,200 square feet and the pre-made food. They have baked from scratch there and food shipped in, their seafood shipped in from Louisiana. So it's a legitimate restaurant with some video gambling machines, and I haven't really patronized it yet personally, but definitely will, because I love that type of food. Po' boy sandwich.
Is this a 21 and over restaurant, though?
It is.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I've been there. I spoke with the owner. He said he and his wife wanted a place where adults could go, get away from the kids, relax, have a glass of wine, and just sit back and enjoy. They wanted it to be an affordable evening, so the prices are phenomenal. You know, drinks are really good price. Food is really good. I've had the sandwiches there. I've had drinks there. They make, I forget the name of them, but they're these milkshakes that are alcohol-based. So there was like a bourbon chocolate shake and a salted caramel rum chata. But I mean, the shakes were big and they were $4.50.
Oh, wow.
So my only concern or my only observation was it's a very big space and there wasn't a lot of seating. So I asked him, I said, oh, he's got a really big bar. I go, oh, you waiting for the bar stools to come in? And he said, no, he said, we can only have a number of seats based on the number of parking spots in the village. So I think if you had a group of 20-plus people there, there'd be some people standing around, fire code and village ordinances and whatnot. But outside of that, he's got coffee and bakery in the morning, and it seems like he's going to try and make a go of it.
Again, thank you for the update.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it really did take them a while to get that business up and running, so we're excited. They have jellyfish in there. They have a jellyfish tank. I mean, you can go somewhere in Bartlett and get fresh donuts made in the morning there. You can get a jambalaya in the afternoon and chocolate.
They've got the best frozen coffee that I think I've ever had in the morning, too, if you like frozen
Yeah,
coffee.
the beignets are good. They're comparable to Cafe Du Monde,
Oh, my goodness.
and prices are good. So.
Oh, that's exciting. That's exciting. It is, so that's another one to add to new businesses, local, shop local, and we are trying to schedule with them. We've made ourselves available to them to come in and shoot a video to promote it. It's just a question of getting the owners there at the same time. If you flip that sheet, this isn't exactly a new business yet, but new buildings. I'm sure you've all seen these very large buildings going up over at Stearns and Munger. These are not in Brewster Creek Business Park. I just want to mention, because they call the two buildings together, they call it Brewster Creek Logistics Park. It's built by LPC, Logistics Property Company, one of the largest industrial developers in the Chicago area, and really nationwide. And these buildings are both 207,000 square feet. They posted on their own social media a real nice shot overhead last week before the snow hit some construction, so I shared that with a lot of people. And then earlier on, a few items ago, you were talking about promoting the industrial. These are the main buildings that I've been promoting recently at the industrial functions.
Are they
Two new
spec
spec
buildings, Tony?
I'm sorry?
Are they spec buildings?
They're both spec, yeah.
So he's looking for somebody to,
They're both
them or
looking
rent 'em.
for somebody, yeah. Yeah. They're basically being built as warehouse and distribution centers, but they could still be modified for manufacturing or what we always, like we always talk about, attracting food companies. Of course, that would take a real lot of build out for food companies there, but yeah, those are two spec buildings and haven't attracted tenants yet. And then if you go, the last photo that and these aren't all the new businesses coming in, but these are some we wanted to mention tonight. Cathay Industries, this is out in Blue Heron Business Park. So this building, for those of you who were on the business park tour that we went on back in September, we rented a little shuttle bus and kind of drove around the business parks. This building was still, it was a little bit beyond just framed out, but they were just starting to put up some of the panels on the sides. So this is a new foreign direct investment company coming in for local Midwest location manufacturing, and this is over in the Blue Heron Business Park. We don't quite get the massive buildings out in that business park, just simply because the lots there are smaller and there's less land. Also, that business park allows for some pretty heavy-duty outdoor type of storage and intensive land usage. So there's some companies that aren't allowed into Brewster Creek Business Park because they have like 5 acres of outdoor storage, and we encourage them to look out to Blue Heron. We have some other buildings coming there soon, but this is, I mean, you can see this one's just about done.
Is this one on spec too?
No, it's for that company called Cathay Industries. Cathay Industries is
What do they do, Tony?
They're into some like oxidizing and plating type of thing. I would have to look it up again, but it's like iron oxide. It's some pretty heavy duty manufacturing.
How's McKesson doing? Any update on them?
At this point, they were just doing some land preparation. They haven't progressed beyond that, and I suppose at this point, with the ground about to freeze, they might not be able, we'll see how much they can do. I'm trying to remember the exact terminology in the incentive agreement, but they basically have about a year and a half. They have to be operational by fall of 2021. Maybe closer to 2 years. They have in there, the village board approved an incentive agreement for them to come in. That was one of the terms of it. So I would have to refer to my notes. I have so many meetings, but I mean, they have a construction schedule they're going to stick to.
What about more?
More brewing? I'm going to definitely defer to Scott on that. He's been working with them closely.
Well, we had hoped you would see some action there by now. We were always aware of their plan to go to Huntley first.
That one looks like it's done, right?
It's close to being done. It's not operational yet, but their plan from day one has always been that Huntley and Bartlett are married to one another, and once they start making money at Huntley, they would use that to build in Bartlett. Talked to him about a week ago. But it's probably looking more like spring now, but you never know.
How about the new pizza place? The new restaurant next to JC's between two.
They're coming along. They have plan commission this week, Thursday night. And then once that's done, they'll go to the board. They're cranking along. You'll see them probably in December for a BETA grant. So they're really cranking along. They got a lot of the outdoor concrete put in before the polar vortex, as Tony likes to call it. So that was really good news. I had a chance, Tony and I were there last week. It looks beautiful. The outside looks really nice. And it's going to be it's something that we don't have. We've got patios, but we don't have a beer garden. It's going to be a beautiful beer garden. And he's going to invite his neighbors, if people want to bring TLs in there or JC's or the tap food. He's going to let those restaurants know that their patrons are more than welcome to buy their food and still use his outdoor area. And I think that's a real good strategy. Yeah. So it's coming along.
And then with regards to the streets of Bartlett, any potential prospects for the outlot? you heard anything?
The outlot's been kind of slow. We've pitched it quite a few times. I can tell you generally, because you've seen Mr. Rafidia here in front of you a few times, he's not shy or hesitant to contact potential tenants. He kind of goes after them like a bulldog, or, you know, he goes pretty hard after potential tenants. Scott and I also have gone after quite a few, whether it's at meetings at trade shows or in some cases driving out to meet with businesses to tell them that we think they should be there. Despite all those efforts, we don't have anybody yet for the outlot. So for the time being, I think with Mr. Rafidia, we're still concentrating on getting the ones that he already has up and running.
And I think,
Filling some other little spaces that are still vacant.
yeah, I think his focus is on that one big space that remains, and a lot of the people that we've tried to attract to that site, it was during a time where the property looked pretty feeble and beat up. Now that the property is near completed, we'll be going after those same folks to show them pictures and even invite them out. Now that it's pretty much done.
Looks good.
Yeah.
Property looks good.
Would all these be on our list of going after?
That was the top of the list.
Top of the list.
They'll be on the list until they're here.
Has there been any talk about rebranding strategies for the streets of Bartlett? Because I'm looking at my pen, which is my dentist, Montegrano, and it still says Bartlett Plaza.
It probably will for a while. It's one of those things that I envision it's going to take some time, probably years.
Okay.
I think the more, commissioners often ask me, some tangible things they can do between meetings. And that's one of the things is I got in such a habit of saying Bartlett Plaza. I probably said those words 10,000 times at EDC meetings and at Village Hall and meetings. And part of it is just starting to say Streets of Bartlett all the time. Eventually, all the businesses will embrace that, and their pens will say it, and their flyers and their ads and everything like that. The new businesses, of course, embrace it immediately, but some of these people have been there for 15 years, 20 years, 30 years. It's not quite as easy. But, so that's a little bit of a process. But also, it's incumbent on all of us to every time we talk about it to say Streets of Bartlett. And when somebody asks me, what do you mean streets, what is that? Well, mostly I say, well, it used to be called Bartlett Plaza, or they just call it Gorski's. Yeah. Most people refer to it as Gorski's. I tell them Gorski's is now Streets of Bartlett. And the signs say Streets of Bartlett on it, and that's part of their branding with it.
Well, look how successful the Sears Tower has been.
Yeah.
I mean, it really has. Rosemont Horizon,
Right.
We still, it depends.
Yeah, I don't know the name of it.
Depends on the area you grew up in.
I'm not sure what you're supposed to call the Sears Tower, to be honest. Willis Tower, right?
Comiskey Park.
There you go, the power of a brand.
Yeah.
That's it for the new business update.
Exciting.
Okay, appears we're ready to move on to the final agenda item, which is always adjournment.
So moved.
Second.
Motion carries. Meeting adjourned.